Welcome to practice. I'm Donna Cavanough. We're going to begin today's practice kneeling down if you can, or sitting with your legs comfortable if kneeling's not appropriate, and having a little bit of height. I'm just going to double over my blanket. A little bit of height under your sit bones. It could be a couple of yoga blocks if you have them. Even a little stool. Milk crate is quite useful. So that little bit of support goes between the feet. And if you can, try to stretch your feet so that they are parallel to the edges of the mat. And I know that toes want to turn in naturally, but we're going to stretch our ankles evenly, inside edge, outside edge. So parallel feet and legs. Virasana, hero pose. And just seeing if you can engender that in your body. The feeling of long spine, lifting, spacious chest, plenty of room for the heart and lung, a sense of ease in your neck. And then we're going to turn the face to the left, giving your neck a little stretch, and then back to center, and then face to the right, and back to center, and left, and center, and right, and back to center. Hold underneath the front of your ankle with your left hand, and you're going to lean over to your right side. And at first, when you lean, you probably feel the stretch in your arm, maybe your shoulder. And then we're going to let our right ear down to the right shoulder. And breathing deeply. Seeing if you can get the feeling of the stretch moving into the left side of your neck. And keep the face and the front of the body, the shoulder, all in one plane. Nice work. That's a nice one to do in a chair. You can anchor your hand under the seat of the chair. Okay, so we're going to anchor the right hand now under the front of the ankle and lean yourself over to your left until you feel a stretch in probably your arm, your right arm, right shoulder. Could be the back a little bit. Try not to let the head fall forward. And then we bring the left ear to the left shoulder and try to get the stretch to move into the neck. And then gently back to center. Nice work. Chin into the chest. And then looking up. And when we look up, we're going to make a back bend as well. You can bring your hand onto your feet or behind you and really feel that big lift of the spine. And then chin into the chest. And then big lift of the spine, back bending, looking up. And then chin into the chest. And one more. Spine lifting and looking up. Beautiful. Keep the breastbone lifting and just look forward. And here we are in Virasana, hero pose. Neck nice and long and shoulders relaxing down. Beautiful. Great. We're going to release from there into all fours. You can take your blanket out for your support and just arching the spine up and down. Such a simple movement, but so effective for the health of the back. And finding your feeling of moving. Noticing what that is, if it feels a little disjointed, or maybe parts of the spine feel like they're a little bit fused together. So let's try and find an articulacy to the spine. See if you can follow your breathing with your movement rather than the other way around. So tune into your breath and feel that you're breathing in for as long as it feels good and breathing out for as long as it feels good. Follow the breath so that when you're breathing out, your spine is lifting, the core of the body is compressing. I haven't got the right word. Inhaling, and the front or the core of the body is expanding. Contracting must be the other word. Nice work. Finish off with the feeling of a back bend. So tummy towards the floor, feeling nice and expansive and roomy. And bring the hands forward so that you can be on your elbows. And we'll try to bring the forearms parallel to each other. Your hips are up high, but we're going to start to open the shoulders, the armpits, the chest towards the floor. Try to keep the lower legs parallel to each other. Not a classic pose, but it's such a nice feeling, and I've heard it called the puppy dog pose. Bringing the bones of your upper back a little bit further forward towards the front chest, making space for the front chest, back of the neck relaxing, and feeling that flow of breath. The inhalation as long as you can. The exhalation as long as you can so that it feels good. Beautiful. And then lifting your elbows from the floor back into your all fours position and tuck your toes under. And we're going to just lean the hips back towards the heels. So giving the feet a little stretch here. It's a version of forward virasana. Lengthening the spine, drawing the shoulder blades back, top of the head forward. Good. And then we're going to walk the hands back and lift the torso. And we've got the hips back as close as you can to your heels. Maybe you can keep walking your hands even off the floor onto your knees. Even keep lifting the spine until the torso is perpendicular to the floor. So your weight is right over those stretchy toes. Nice work. And then hands walking forward again, back down to the floor, into all fours, and keep the toes tucked under and downward facing dog pose. And we're going to try and press one heel and then the other to the floor. Just noticing where that stretch feels good or needed. And letting your shoulders feel nice and wide. Let your head just hang down. Press into your fingerprints. And letting the breath be as slow as feels good. Follow your breath. Very nice work. And we're going to walk the feet forward a little bit so that you can get your heels as close to the floor as possible. See if you can lift your hips high now, lift the kneecaps, feeling the lengthening of the spine. Mm. Mm. Beautiful. Knees to the floor. Good. We're going to walk the hands back. Be on those stretchy toes. You can keep your hands on the floor if you need to, or balance your torso over your heels. Good. And we're going to try and lift the knees and move into a squatting position from here. So hands can be on the floor to help you do that. Otherwise, a little bit of lift, squatting, and then back into your kneeling position. Ooh, use your hands, obviously. Try to get your knees to lift at the same time from the floor. One side probably wants to go first. Good, and back again. So we're doing 3 of those. Back into a squat now so that you can come up to standing. Oh, rolling yourself up. Nice work. We're going to stand so you can see your device and long edge of the mat in front of you. Feet under your hips. Tadasana. So feet should be nice and awake now. Neck nice and relaxed. Let's do alternate shoulder rolls. Shoulder up to the ears and back and down. Ears and back. Bring your fingers and interlock them and press the palms out in front of you. Good. And we're going to start to take the arms up. Now do it slowly and see if you can keep your shoulders down. So even when you get to that point where it feels quite resistant, we're not lifting or hunching the shoulders towards the ears. So you keep lots of room for the neck. And then see if you can keep straightening your arms, reaching the small fingers back and the index fingers up, and feel powerful in your legs. So you support the back bend component of this movement. So front of the thighs lift, the front of the hips lift, the belly lengthens, the chest lifts, and breathing deeply. Beautiful. And then releasing. And then take your hands and interlock them the other way and press it out through the palms. Shoulder blades down. So take it slow and really try to keep that easeful neck, powerful leg. Really stretching. Try to get your arms straight. Good. Lifting up through the index fingers, reaching back through the small fingers. Neck is relaxed, but we're letting the armpits lengthen. Arms lengthen. Nice work. And then releasing. Beautiful. We're going to come into a forward bend, but hands on the thigh. So we're just halfway. Maybe the torso feels sort of parallel to the floor. And stretch the back of the legs again. Just making sure that movement feels okay. So I'm alternating. Maybe it feels better for you to just do both together. I like to warm up with alternate legs in this stretch and then try both together. Lifting the kneecaps, lifting the sit bones. And we're going to look forward and, in fact, lift the torso a little bit so you can feel the back bend shape in your torso. And we'll take the arms back from here, so off your legs. Take the arms by your sides, palms facing up, sort of ready to dive. Reach the fingertips back. Really try to reach the shoulders back from the ears. And looking forward. Now we're going to lift the torso and the arms up by the ears and bend the knees at the same time so that we're in Utkatasana, chair pose, legs parallel, lifting the belly and then reaching forward, arms by your side, palms up. Beautiful. And then Utkatasana again. And then diving pose again. So the knees pretty much bent when your arms are up, and when your arms are back, see if you can straighten. Good. Utkatasana, the bent leg. Powerful lift of the core, supporting the spine. Good. And one more forward bend, straighten your leg. Ooh, lifting the arms beside you this time, palms up, looking forward. And then let your upper body just relax. Arms relax down. Head relaxes down. Nod your head. Shake your head. And rolling all the way up. And arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. Beautiful. All right. Tadasana. We're going to stamp out now. Or jump. So your legs are out wide. And we'll turn the toes in. Heels out. Lifting the front of the thighs. Front of the hip. Good. Lifting the whole front torso, the breastbone, and looking up. Really feeling that back bend shape, but thoroughly supported by strong front legs. Beautiful. Now we're going to hinge forward at the front of the hip. The torso is coming forward. Prasarita Padottanasana. And taking the arms forward. Lifting the kneecaps, quadriceps, sit bones. Press the outside edges of the feet and lift the inner arches of the feet. Let's walk the hands over to the left side, and you're going to reach your right arm as far as you can. And then walking your hands over to the right side. Feeling the breath as long, as deep as feels good, and giving yourself the stretch that feels nourishing. Beautiful. Back to center. Hands underneath the shoulders, looking forward. We're going to turn the toes out and the heels in and lower your hips. So we want to find where that feels like a movement that the body's resisting. So lowering the hips, taking the knees further and further apart. Beautiful. See if you can keep your hips down, lift the pelvic floor, and start to lift the torso. So we keep the hips down, the knees wide. We're going to be lifting internal muscular support, lower front core is lifting, and bring the arms up by the ears. Might be able to lower down a little bit more. Make sure you're lifting internally and the core of the body. Beautiful. And let's go from side to side, one leg beginning to straighten and the other bending. Lifting the small fingers, drawing the shoulder blades down. Back to center. Keep the hips down, the knees wide. Bring the arms out from the shoulders, palms up, and make little circles. Palms up and back. Hips are staying down, and we're still lifting powerfully through pelvic floor, front core. And release. Arms, legs. Ooh, nice work. And you're going to stamp or step or jump. Feet back to underneath your hips. I guess not if you're in an apartment. You can't stamp. Oh, Tadasana. Nice work. Let's stamp the feet out or step lightly to about your own leg length. So we're going to turn the right foot out at 90 degrees and the back foot in at about 30 degrees. And for Trikonasana, bring your hands to your hips. And we want to imagine that you could lift the hips and reach out over the right leg. And the right hip starts to tuck in. And the left hip is lengthening towards the left shoulder. The right hip is really tucking in. Good. Nice, strong, straight legs. Lift your kneecap. Great. And where you've landed, put your hand on your leg. Don't press down on your knee, just softly on your leg. So that's the right hand on the right leg and the left arm up to the ceiling. And then maybe there's a little bit more length in the sides of the waist. And we're rolling back the left hip and the left rib. And let your breath be as long as feels satisfying. Beautiful. And then we're going to lift up that side. All right. I'm going to bring the hands in front of the heart. And we're going to balance on the right foot, but we want to keep the torso facing the long edge of the mat. So a preparation for Ardha Chandrasana. So how do we balance on the right foot? You might want to bring the left foot in a little bit, or you might be able to just lift the left foot off the floor. So maybe you need to keep your left toes on the floor, but try to be really light on the toes and really have the weight in the right foot, the right leg. Maybe you've got your left leg lifting. Good. And we're going to try and roll the left hip back. Ooh. The left ribs back. If you really find your balance, you could even take your arms straight out from your heart. You might be able to lean further. We want to challenge our balance, but also know that we can catch ourselves. Up moon. Nice work. And then we'll release that side. Woohoo. Okay, turning to the second side. Left foot parallel to the edges of the mat. Right foot turns in, and this is for Trikonasana to begin with. Hands on the, see if you can angle the hips so that right hip lifts up towards the right side of the waist and the left hip tucks in. Legs are long and strong, lifting your kneecaps, quadriceps. Beautiful. When you've reached as far as your hips will tilt, put your hand onto your leg. So it might be on your thigh. Don't press down on your knee. So if it's on your knee, just softly there. So wherever you reach to. And then let's see if we can get the right hip to roll back, the right ribs to roll back, and lengthen both sides of the waist a little bit more. Right arm straight up. Trikonasana. Discovering where the stretch feels good, where there's a little more room to move, and plenty of room to breathe. Beautiful. Lifting up. Nice work. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Now we're going to have our attention in that left foot. That's what we're going to try and balance on. And we're going to try and lift the right foot up behind us. So that might mean that you keep your right tiptoes on the floor, but keep them light. Try to be really strong and stable in that left leg. And we're rolling back the right hip. Nice work. So if you can lift the right foot behind you, do that. Maybe you can bring your arms out from your heart. Challenging your balance. Maybe you can keep tipping the torso until you bring the left hand to the floor. Maybe, maybe not. We all have our challenges. Good. And then lifting up. Whoa. And releasing. Let's give our back a rest in Uttanasana. So we're going to take the arms up, Urdhva, Uttanasana, standing forward bend, and take your hands as close to the floor as you can reach. So it might be on your leg, might be on the floor. And then we're going to walk them as far forward as you can. So if you're on your legs, just hold where you can, but keep lifting the spine and looking forward. So we get that feeling of the bones of the spine embedding forward. Lifting the kneecaps and the quadriceps and the sit bones. And finding really satisfying breath. Satisfying lengthening of the body, opening of the body. Lovely work. And from here, we're going to sit down. So you think about what the movements might be for you so that you can sit with safety. You might be able to squat, and we've been working on the feet, the hips. So see if you've got a little bit of flexibility in your feet that allows you to sit without falling. And sitting up onto a blanket. And sitting tall. We started the practice in a seated pose with kneeling, but here the sit bones are the foundation, and make sure your legs are comfortable. So if cross legs doesn't work, they might be out in front. Semi-straight. But feeling the lift of the spine. Good. And we're going to keep the neck and spine aligned. We're going to draw a circle in the air above the top of the head. So that means that we lean back. When you lean back, you'll notice the core of the body trying to hold you nice and stable. Good. And when you lean forward, feel the movement of the pelvis and the hip joint. So everything is shifting as we travel through the circle. So feeling what shifts in your body. trying not to be turning from the waist. We're really trying to keep the whole spine in one line. So the belly stays quite relaxed. We're not massaging the gut here, just moving through the pelvis and the hip joints. The core of the body does switch on when you lean back. Other direction. Noticing the journey. Nice. And back to center. And that's quite different to making a circle with the diaphragm. So that lower cross section of the rib cage. So if you draw a circle with your diaphragm, notice how you're massaging now the gut. And it's a different feeling in the spine, much more influence on that mobility, particularly of your upper or that middle back. Good. And then the other direction. And you could focus that kind of movement on any bone in the spine that would feel good. So interesting to keep in your toolkit. Back to center. Okay, we're going to bring the legs out in front. I'm hoping we've all got room for this. We're going to put the left leg under the right or behind the right foot. So left foot behind the right foot, left hand on the floor. And you're going to draw your energy, your energetic focus to the core of the body and imagine lifting your hips up off the floor. And we're going to take the right arm back. Now, if they don't lift up, just bring your energetic focus there and that's fine. Give it a good go. Doesn't matter if they don't lift up. All right, back to center. Right foot behind the left, right hand on the floor. And then we try to lift the hip high as you can and let your left arm up and back so the chest is broad. Beautiful. And we're going to go from side to side. One more each side. Nice work. Good. Feet out in front. Okay. The next progression to there, left foot behind the right foot, and you're going to try and lift yourself up onto your knees without using your hands. If I were to use my hands, I'd have to put them on the floor over here on the left and lift up into a sort of proposal pose. Okay, but what about if I did that without using my hands? So give that a go. One more each side. Beautiful. Legs straight out in front and then legs wide. As wide as you can. So wiggle your heels further apart. Hands behind the hips to help with the lift of the spine. And then keeping the spine and the neck in that one line again. Draw your circle again. With the top of the head in the air above you. And let's see if we can feel the journey, the difficulty of leaning back, the resistance in the hips of reaching into those edges, the full circumference of your movement. And then the other direction. Notice where your body resists and appreciating, really paying attention. And accepting. Beautiful. Finish off with your torso as far forward in your range of motion as you can go. And hopefully it feels like the hips are tipping forward as much as they will. So some people don't have much in that range of motion. So the hips don't really feel like they're shifting, or the hips is the wrong word, the pelvis. So even if you're in the more upright position, try putting your hands on your pelvis and just remind yourself of that little tip forward of the hip bones. Beautiful. So we've got the torso as far forward as your movement allows. And pay attention to what is resistant. Is it the legs? Is it the back? Does it feel like it's in the pelvis or the hips? And appreciating that. And finding some deep breaths. And a path forward. Appreciating the view along the way. Good. And then releasing. And we're going to lay down. Hugging your knees into your chest and rocking a little bit from side to side. Feet onto the floor and put the inside edges of the ankles and the knees together, feet together. Arms out from your shoulders. Lift your hips and swing them to the right, put them down, and then legs go to the left. Ooh. Letting yourself relax into the support of the floor. Receiving the gift of the posture. Really bring your focus to your core body so that when you lift your leg, your spine has support. Back to center and lift your hips and swing them to the left, and the knees go to the right. And then again, we give the weight of the body to the floor. Feeling the length of the breath and the gifts of the posture. And when you're ready, bring your focus to the core of your body and support with that strength, that awareness to lift your legs. And then hug your knees into your chest again, rocking from the side to side, walking the lower back longer and longer, and feeling the whole length of your breath. People who would like to stay in their own shavasana, be a nice place to lengthen your legs out. Namaste to you. People who need to finish their practice now, as I do. Rolling yourself to your right and coming up to sitting. Bringing your hands in front of your heart. And take the feeling of the practice with you. Namaste.